Vibology's points make it very interesting when looking at the multiple and various emotional traumas a woman who has been divorced multiple times will go through, versus the relative emotional stability a man who has been divorced a comparable amount of times enjoys. According to numerology, it takes 7 years for a new name to take hold and for an old name to drop off completely. So let's take a look at an example of this. Jane Doe met and fell in love with Victor Prick, so they got married and she became Jane Prick. But Victor was an abusive husband, so after 3 years, Jane got a divorce. Later that year, Jane met Hans Space. It was love at first sight, and a year later they got married and Jane Prick became Jane Space. However, later that year she found Hans in bed with someone else and decided she needed Space and got divorced. 2 years later, she met John Jonah, and it would have been a match made in heaven, but by then, Jane had issues trusting men, and the two never hit it off. Within 7 years, Jane's last name had changed several times, and none of her last names had been given the proper amount of time to take hold, a possible reason behind her trust issues. In that same amount of time, Vic has also had several relationships, resulting in 2 divorces and a few emotional problems. In short, Vic is still the same prick he's always been. Now, of course, the change of last names can't be blamed on all of the difficulties Jane has had in life, but it could be argued that had she kept her maiden name, she may have had a smoother transition. Not to mention the difficulty she has had dealing with her bank and the embarrassment she suffers every time she goes to the supermarket and someone remembers her as Mrs. Prick when in fact she got divorced from that jerk over 5 years ago. It can be argued that, in hindsight, keeping her original last name would have made her life a lot simpler, regardless of how her relationships turned out. Next, we will explore how these rules apply to men, yet in a more informal manner. We will also look at nicknames and the roles they play in vibology. For more free info on interesting vibes, use the free app or download the free audiobook, free blogs and YouTube channel as well. Be sure to like and share. Also still available on Amazon, 5-star rated. For more info, visit www.vibologyvibes.com.